So more people than ever have been getting into American politics, and that means that you can be fooled by a lot of basic key details in America. The number one being that for some odd reason, America seems to think that politicians are able to get in trouble for the things that they do, and it is very it's very disingenuous, as most media is. So the thing is that all media is basically controlled by fucking BlackRock, and I'm sure everyone's heard that and like, oh, that sounds like some shit a conspiracy theorist would say. It's like, yeah, dude, telling you that fucking all of your society is owned by like one corporation, it's totally just a total it's all just a big conspiracy theory, it's totally not just like a fact or anything. Anyways, we're actually going to get into the video here. So, the main point being that in media, I've noticed this strange trend. It basically goes like this, right? They say, "Ooh, Hillary Clinton. Oh, she's finally gonna get prosecuted. Oh my God, she leaked the government documents. Oh my God, she's gonna get in trouble." She's not gonna get in trouble. It's a politician. It's the wife of a president. She's bulletproof. When the fuck is media just gonna be honest with people and say, "Hey, listen, yeah, they're politicians. They're basically just immune to everything, because that's exactly what it is. I mean, like, yeah, sure, these guys targeted Donald Trump. I mean, like, yeah, of course the guy's gonna get off on it. Like, do you think Hunter Biden's son isn't bulletproof at this point? That dude's been a fucking politician his entire life, you know. And like the big point being is that you might be wondering why it is that I'm bringing up all these current events. Well, I'm gonna bring up one from quite a little bit ago. So you see, do you guys remember Richard Nixon? One of the most unpopular presidents of basically all time because he basically led a war that nobody at all wanted this fucking war at all, which is crazy to me. And this guy, of course, he sprays Agent Orange everywhere, and he obviously causes mutations for years and years. And they're finally about to hold this guy responsible for doing all kinds of crazy ass shit. Remember, this guy has no clout at all. Everybody hates him. The guy is clearly on drugs. This guy is currently the president, and like, the guy's fucked, And this guy, on top of all of that, he even made a bunch of tapes, a bunch of illegally manufactured tapes too. You see, you aren't allowed to actually record people, at least not the kind of things he recorded. And then all of the tapes, of course, go up in flames, as in he destroys all the evidence. And this guy's guilty as fuck. They have him on everything. They know you destroyed the tapes. They know everything you've done, and it's over for you. Do you know what happens? He gets pardoned. So wait, let me get this straight here. So the only thing that it took for Richard Nixon to be able to get off on all of that was he had his vice president go in there and pardon him. That's fucking crazy. The guy that he literally appoints. I mean, gee, I wonder if the guy who's your vice president owes you anything. It isn't like you fucking like pick him out or anything. So a lot of you might be wondering, what's the real point of actually having all of these charades of pretending that people are about to be held accountable? Well, it's just another episode of Tom and Jerry, baby. Now you might be wondering what that means. Well, the lingo is this, right? If, say, Tom ever actually killed Jerry, the show would be over, right? Which means that the second that one of these big fucking media conglomerate groups, like as soon as the left or the right cleans up their act, that's when they actually have to start improving America. So the thing is that it's just like with your general prison population, you want them both arguing with each other so that you don't actually have to improve the prison. So now let's go ahead and get a prisoner's perspective on things. So what am I afraid of? Well, the first thing is that we printed off a bunch of money, and rather than giving it to people who actually needed it, we gave it to people with businesses, people with houses, people with property. The people who would largely be like unimpacted by anything at all. I mean, realistically speaking, say you're a millionaire, you have a lot of properties. I mean, why is it again that you're getting a stimulus package? I mean, why? That's stupid. And another thing is that we print off all this money, and then it all just instantly went to the richest hands. Like, if say you actually look at like pre-COVID versus after COVID, like they basically stopped the poor populace from working for about a year, and we all took this big, massive vacation. Oh hell yeah, a little COVID vacation, baby. And then we take this massive vacation. The politicians, in their corrupt ways, they give all the money to their friends, just like usual. And the next thing we know, we all get stuck with a bill again. But the thing is that when you give out like $13 trillion, and then the $13 trillion leaves the masses, that's fucked up. All right, that's a very very fucked up situation right there. And not to mention, all it does is it destroys generational wealth. Where if say you print off a bunch of money and give it to the rich, if say you had $1,000 in your bank account, it's worth way less. All right, they're robbing people of their inheritance. They're robbing people of generational wealth. They are robbing as much as they humanly can right now, and it's disgusting. And the question that I have to ask is that, so okay, cool. So everywhere I look, they say, oh well, if say you work at McDonald's, oh yeah, of course we can't possibly give you a low raise or anything, you know. So if say you can't get a raise at McDonald's, they're just gonna replace you with a robot. And if they replace you with a robot at McDonald's, it's like okay, well then I guess I'll go work at I don't know, like a thrift store, because you can't work at a grocery store. They'll be putting robots in there too. So the thing is that America doesn't actually produce anything to the world. I mean, sure, we make a new iPhone and we slap a new number in front of it, but that doesn't actually provide any real worth to the world. So a lot of you might be wondering just what corporate welfare actually is. Well, it's basically capitalism but with training wheels, and by training wheels I mean picture this right. You have a motorcyclist, and this guy's about to enter the biggest race of his life, but all of a sudden he has multiple competitors. Now this guy has a really nice bike, but a few of the guys have been saying that they have a few ideas on how to beat him this time around. So what he does is he calls up his friend Jeffrey and he says, "Listen, I know we got the biggest bike, we got the most gas in this bike, and I know we got everything known to man in this bike, but maybe we should sabotage the competition." So what they do is they take the training wheels off of the toddler's bike, so he can't race, right? The new businesses, and then he takes the rest of them, which are they're somewhat medium bikes, and then he has his friends slash their tires, and they say they pass all these regulations, a lot of safety, a lot of carbon emission rules, a lot of taxes that are really unjust, and then basically, right, he crashes his bike, he makes all the other kids pay for it, and then the rest of the kids are disqualified, and the guy walks his shitty bike across the field, and he wins the race. That is what it looks like. And you might be thinking to yourself, I wonder what kind of advancements that those kids would have used with their smaller bikes to win the race. Well, you'll never find out. And that's the thing is that if you never find out what those kids were going to use to win the race, then your economics don't get any better, as in your dollar doesn't really gain any value because your dollar isn't worth anymore because of your advancements aren't they're stagnating, you see. And finally, the corporate welfare aspect comes from when the guy crashes his bike and then he forces everybody else to pay for it. Now, the thing is a lot of people want to see a new contestant and they're sick of seeing this old 80-year-old hop on his fucking Harley and go out there and try to win the race every year and disqualifies everybody. But the guy's an asshole, and since he's running the game, right, this guy runs the whole game, he's going to make you pay for his bike every time he crashes it. And he's going to walk it to the finish line every single time. That's what our economics is. With that all being said, we're going to move on to another point. And the reason why is because of America has a service-based economy. Thing is shutting down during COVID for a service-based economy is a very, very bad idea. Now, the thing that our corporate overlords don't want us to talk about are things such as why do we have a oil cartel in America that genuinely fucked us during the pandemic. I mean, these guys put the prices of gasoline so high that it was unreal. I mean, and not to mention the price per barrel was actually lower than in 2008, which means that these guys basically just fucked America for no real reason. And then President Biden was just begging to them, saying, please, please lower the prices of oil, because you know why? He's toothless against them, because they literally run your society. It's literally just a big oil cartel, and they're seeing how much they could get away with. And to be real with you, even I was surprised just how much they got away with. A very large number of jobs are very threatened by AI right now, and that's another thing that they don't want us talking about. I mean, if you work tech support, they could train an AI to do your job for you. What's that? You guys want a livable wage because you're working at McDonald's and you have to work 3 or 4 jobs just to be able to stay afloat in society? We'll replace that with a burger flipping machine because it's cheaper than to give you a raise. And The list just goes on and on, really. And you basically just kind of look at that, and then you just think to yourself, well, cool. I guess that just means there's just no place for the lower class in society, right? I mean, cool. We have all these new little toys and things like, oh, cool. Like, look, we have AI. We have ourselves, like, oh, look at we have really cheap burgers, but it's like we have no way to buy the burgers. We have no way to use the AI. It's just felted, and I just don't understand it. It just doesn't make sense on paper. So I feel like that maybe it's time that the media takes a step back and it looks at itself and its evil eyes, and it actually, for once, covers a subject that is actually kind of like useful to the American people, rather than going into these disgusting reality TV show versions. Because like, come on, like our politics is basically just it's just like the Beverly Hills. They focus on the drama of all of our politicians, and they ignore the fact that, I mean, politicians don't get in trouble. So there's like it's very weird that you can live in a society where there is no socialism for the people, but there is socialism for your big media conglomerate people that are too big to fail, for the corporations that are too big to fail. I mean, I just don't get that. It's stupid. And I feel like that, like, yeah, congratulations. Everybody just keep watching Fox News, keep on watching CNN, like, keep on fucking drinking the poison water, man. It's real easy. It's the easiest thing you can do is to sit there and agree with your media. But the trick is to think outside the box, man. I mean, like, if say you're really gonna like listen to politics, then you're really gonna be like an actual contributing member of society. Not to mention, if say you go out and vote, you live in California, you live in any state at all that's like hella red leaning, where they've been voting that way for 60 years plus. Yeah, your vote is meaningless. And I'm just going to tell you that it is meaningless. The popular vote is worthless, and it should be worthless, as you losers voted Hillary Clinton into fucking office. She won the fucking popular vote. You morons. Like the most corrupt politician ever. The most corrupt politician in the world. They put her up against a WWE host, a guy who used to host reality television, and and that guy won over her. And you guys were about to vote her into fucking office. Disgusting. The thing is that if you actually had Hillary Clinton in office, you would have to kind of wrestle with one big fact of the matter, and that's that. So you're telling me, right, that a husband can run for office and win, and then his wife can go into office, and then what, his son can? It's like, could we maybe break the dynasty up? Because that's crazy that you can just have like your family members just run for office. Like maybe there should be like a little bit of a cool down there. And it's funny that no Americans at all like really thought to themselves that it was kind of weird that a wife of a president can run, because in a way that's just an extension of him. I mean, like that would be a really easy way to lock down 16 years. But of course, people are too stupid to actually question their reality. So when you really look at all of those things, you really need to question yourself with the Palestine ex-Israel conflict, because the thing is that who do you expect media to kind of go with? Because the thing is that media, they're just like anybody. They pay attention to their advertisers. The advertisers want one big thing, and that's whatever BlackRock wants. BlackRock wants Israel to ally with who? The Saudis. And once they ally with the Saudis, then we have two people to go and fight Iran. Thing is that for me, I hear that and I think, damn, that sounds a lot like World War III, to the point where I almost root for the Palestinians, because I really don't want Israel and Saudi Arabia to actually ally together, because I don't want to know what Iran's going to do next. I mean, if say that happens, then I might get drafted for a war. You see, so it is somewhat nice to have these opinions. And as far as I'm sure a lot of people have already been drinking the Kool-Aid on the Israel and Palestine kind of conflict. But the thing is, keep in mind one thing: who do you think can grease the most palms? Is it going to be the Zionists, who have thousands of politicians inside of the U.S., or is it going to be the people who can't afford bread? Okay, so you guys need to sit here and use your thinking cap here. Who has the most money to bribe? Who has the most representation? Okay. Boom. It's Israel.
You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist, and I'm a Zionist.
This is my 10th visit. Every chance to return to this great country where the ancient roots of the Jewish people date back to biblical times.
Were there no Israel, there wouldn't be a Jew in the world who was safe.
Between the Israeli people and the American people is bone deep.
Like, really, like, think about it for 2 fucking seconds. Why is it that the American people can be so against Russia genociding a bunch of Ukrainians for land when we're doing the exact same thing to ally the Saudi Arabians and Israel? And if you're going to sit here and tell me that, oh, well, that isn't the, how do you know that that's the end goal? Well, gee, it isn't like the United States of America didn't just agree to build a bunch of nuclear reactors for the Saudis if they were to ally with Israel. And not to mention, the U.S. paid over $2 billion in just a few years just to really make sure that the whole world really recognized Israel for who they were. And that was their own nation. So the main reason why I feel like that you as an American citizen should maybe not support Israel is because of, well, honestly, 40% of Palestinians are basically children in that area. So you're basically just saying, oh yeah, sure, let's just kill all the children over there. It's just fine. So like you're gonna look like a bit of an asshole. And not to mention, I mean, like, I'm not sure how it is that the U.S., like, it falls onto the U.S. to deal with the genocide of a people. I mean, in my opinion, that falls solely on the fucking shoulders of the Israelis, my friend. We have no need at all to send them foreign aid to go and fucking bomb fucking hospitals, to fucking, I mean, not to mention, this is a big thing that I really didn't like was, Israel basically told everybody in Palestine to leave a certain area if, say, they weren't rebel fighters. So then everybody fled to an area, and they bombed that area as well as the other area. So their civilian encampment got bombed, especially, which is just bullshit to me. And it really just goes to show just how bad of people these people from Israel are. Like, I'm sorry to say it, but I mean, yeah, like they just run open air prisons and they essentially do what the Nazis did, but the only difference is that they have government backing. That's the only difference between them and the Nazis. I mean, realistically speaking. I mean, like, we appeal from the UN saying shit that, like, yeah, that it's a textbook genocide. I mean, while it doesn't fit the exact criteria of a genocide, it's pretty damn close.
They were slowly lumbering over our ship, and we were waving at them, they were waving at us. And I felt that we were in great shape because they knew who we were.
They're our friends. We felt safe. Actually, it was a secure feeling to see them.
The Liberty was actually the only sizable vessel in the area that day. The ship even boasted a massive American flag that could be seen from miles away. The last thing that anyone expected was an attack.
Sun was shining, blue sky, clouds, nice. People sunbathing on the deck. We had lunch, and 5 minutes later, maybe, here came the jets, and nobody really knew what was happening until they started firing.
Israeli military jets started opening fire at the Liberty. Surviving crew members recount how the Israelis fired rockets at the ship and jammed the signals so the crew couldn't request help, and then proceeded to drop napalm on the unarmed crew. And to top it all off, the Israeli Navy machine-gunned life rafts that the US Marines were using to escape death and get the injured away to safety. They then proceeded to torpedo the vessel in hopes of sinking it.
Israel are willing to kill Americans. So I need you to ask yourself one big question as an American citizen. Who are the real terrorists?
An official inquiry was launched. The report was written in 20 days. It did not include many testimonies of the crew on board, no interviews with Israelis, and even the recording of Israelis identifying the ship as American were buried. 168 bags of American body parts were incinerated, and the cherry on the cake, the report exonerated Israel from any blame.